Yo, what's going on, guys? What I got for y'all today is this solo raid guide for this new second boss, Ziz, bruh. So, without wasting too much time, let's first go over the boss moves, what to do and how to avoid getting one shot. Then we'll go over some of the teams that I'm using and the replacements, and in standard fashion, at the end, I'll include my one and done run. So, let's get it. Okay, so first off we have the missiles up top. You can kind of just ignore those, they don't do a lot of damage. Unless you don't have a healer and you're running low, then you want to cover. And then you have these three clusters of 4 which you want to cover, or you want to shoot them. You can shoot them if you wanted to. They do quite a bit of damage, as you can see right here. My crown died here, so I had to reset. Then you get these 4 eyes which are destroyable. You want to shoot them. You can either shoot them individually, or you can kind of destroy them by AoE. For example, when Rapi does her explosive damage, it will hit them. Or if you have a rocket launcher, you can hit them, and if you don't destroy them, it goes into this like ultimate move type thing. And then it does quite a bit of damage and gains a lot of defense, 360% defense for 10 seconds. So you barely do any damage until it loses that. And here is how it looks when you destroy those eyes. It kind of gets stunned for a couple of seconds and does not go into that ultimate move. Now, there's 2 types of these moves with the eyes. The first one is the one that destroy, it goes into that ultimate move, but the second one doesn't. So you can kind of just ignore those eyes here, for example. You want to cover from those missiles again. Now we go into a move that stuns all your units, and you have to shoot these QTEs, or you get pretty much one shot. Like this. Almost all of my team get one shot. And here is how you get through it. You have to switch to the unit that is not stunned and shoot the QTE to get out of it. And now this QTE with the shield, if you don't shoot it, it will kind of do this like wave move and one shot your whole team. And these are fire code QTEs, so you need a fire type unit in order to break those. And then here is the mid-battle QTE. If you fail that, you get one shot. It kind of spawns these like dimensional portals and fires lasers at you. Just one shots you, but it's pretty easy to destroy those QTEs. You first have to aim in the middle to destroy this one, and then others will appear in a star pattern. You just kind of destroy them. You can also use rocket launcher users to very easily destroy all of them if you just aim in the middle with a rocket launcher. And it is pretty simple. So these are all of the moves that there are for this boss. Now let's see how it all plays all together. Alright, so now let's do the entire fight together. Let's put all the moves and everything we've learned all in one and see how we can do against it, right? So first off, we get these missiles. You can just kind of ignore them. They don't do that much damage, so we don't mind if we take damage from those. Now the second part is these 3 clusters. Now we can just take cover from them. They do quite a bit of damage. You can shoot them or take cover. Now these ones right here, these 4 eyes, the first ones that spawn, you want to destroy those. These are the ones that lead to the boss increasing its defense for 10 seconds. So you want to destroy those. But if you have someone like Rapi or another rocket launcher, they kind of just get destroyed by peripheral damage, like you just saw right there. Then the boss gets stunned. Then these ones are the ones that we don't really care about shooting. These are quite tanky, so you could destroy them if you wanted to, but it's not worth it. So now we have this thing. You switch to the unit that was not stunned. Destroy those really easy. Then it does its thing. See, these eyes are just kind of getting destroyed by peripheral damage from Rapi through the AoE. And then it's gonna go into the QTE that is fire code. So you gotta use a fire ally to destroy those. Pretty simple. Now these eyes get destroyed right there. Now he's going into the mid-fight QTE around that 1 minute 20 second mark, so right here. And so you're gonna shoot in the middle, do this like star pattern, and then goes back into the fight. Now he's gonna spawn some missiles, and he's gonna spawn the 3 clusters again right here. You can shoot them individually, or or take over again. And now fire code QTE. And these are the eyes that you want to destroy again. You want to destroy those, or the boss will get defense up. There's another one here, kind of hiding there, behind Rappy's head. So you gotta be careful of that as well. You might not see it on the screen. And these 4 are the ones that you don't really care about. You can just leave them be. And you saw there, we're taking damage from those lasers, but it's not that significant. And then you got the QTE again, that the unit that is not stunned is the one that you're gonna pick, obviously. And we're reaching the end now. Again with the missiles, it's just kind of repeating all the moves again and again. So it's pretty simple once you know what to do. And here we have it, this the end. Alright, so now for the teams, we got Crown, Little Mermaid, Rappy, Mast, and Cindy here. So this is the team that I will be running. However, you can replace Cindy here, for example, with Red Hood. This will be fine, this will work okay. You can replace her with Alice, for example. You can also put in Mihara here. This team will work pretty well as well. So you kind of just pick and choose the second DPS here. It's fine. Most DPSs from Fire Code will work here. Like for example, Asuka will be fine. And then for the buffer here, right, we had Mast here, but you could put in Helm here as well. And also you can put in Naga here, and this will be fine. This will provide you a little bit more healing than Helm actually, when Helm is off burst. So this will work as well. So that's pretty much it for team 1. Now for team 2, we get the shotgun team. So what I'll be running here is the bunnies with Blanc and Noir. We got Doro here and Treasure Drake with Tove. Tove also has a treasure, but whether she has it or not, it doesn't matter. You would still run her in here. Now the other team that you could run is this team right here. This is the team that we ran during the Kraken solo raid boss. However, this team is very hard to run and might only be very marginally better, so I do not recommend this. I will not be even trying this team, but this is something that you could do if you wanted to. Now going back to the bunnies, you can also run Rouge here, which will be able to lower Blanc's cooldown to 20 seconds, so this is fine. And between Noir and Rouge, the end damage is about the same, but you are able to burst off cooldowns. So that is something that may be able to let you play more comfortably, because you'll be able to burst off cooldown and get to destroying the parts immediately instead of getting hit by the lasers and stuff. And then you have the Tia Naga duo here, and this team will be able to provide you enough survivability that you will not have to worry about dying for the most part. However, this team actually does not do as much damage as the bunnies, so the bunnies are preferable in this team. And also in this team, you will have to wait about 6 seconds before bursting due to the cooldown, because there is no cooldown reduction. It's not enough from Tia. So while this team is not terrible, it is worse than bunnies. And then lastly, you may consider running a team like this, where you put Grave here, so she buffs Dorothy, as well as doing significant damage herself. And then putting, for example, Naga here for that healing, so you can heal a little bit, and also helps Dorothy as well. And so this is kind of a split team. There's some buffers that buff Dorothy and some buffers that buff Drake. But it is something that you could do also if you do not have the duos, or maybe you're using them on some other team. Now moving on to the third team, here we have the trio, the signature trio for this boss. So you have Emma, Enwa, and Vesti here, and then you have Alice and the killer wife. So here you can also replace Alice with Ludmila, for example. You can replace her with Oleg as well. You can put Cinderella here, she'll be fine. Another thing you may consider doing here if you run Cindy here is, instead of getting D here, you would put Rouge here, so you can buff Cindy more, and Vesti gets buffed about the same. So this is also a pretty good team. And alternatively, you can put the, Red Hood here, and this will be a pretty decent team. Also with D or with Rouge, whoever you prefer. However, D is better for Red Hood. Now the other unit that you can put in here is Laplace. However, her damage against this boss is quite mediocre, even though she scales on true damage. So if you have other options, I would recommend going with somebody else, but she will also be okay in this solo raid if you do not have anybody else that you can put in here. Now for the fourth team here, I have the Dots. I have Raven and Mihara with Rouge here because Leader is used on another team, but you can put Leader here as well and she will actually be better. Now we have Rosanna here. You could also put in Crust if you don't have Rosanna, and then you can put Helm here so she heals the team. A lot of the time you'll have to burst with Helm instead of one of the other DPSs, but it's not very detrimental in this team because these two units do damage of burst due to their dots. So you could do that. This team struggles a little bit with breaking the eyes in order to interrupt its defense up attack type thing. So you may consider running this classic team with SBS and Alice together with the maid duo and the killer wife, and you may switch out the 4 leader here if you prefer. Now something else that you can do here, for example, is using this very old team where you use Privity with Dorothy, Marciana for healing, and then you have Alice and SBS. But this team is not as good as the other ones, however it will work just fine. Now for the last team we got Leader, Grave, Asuka Ray, and Modernia. Yeah, Modernia is back here. And in this team also you can replace Modernia with Mihara here. Mihara is very well paired with Ray. Ray is one of the best on-burst buffers for off-burst Mihara, so this will work quite well as well. And last but not least, if you do not have some of the units, you may opt to run the electric team with Cindy, Rouge, 2B, Marie, and Anise. Now you can switch these around as well if you want to run off-burst 2B. Now you may even want to replace 2B with A2 here because she will be better at breaking the mid-battle QTE, so that will save you a number of seconds to do more damage. But in general you can just replace this unit with any fire unit so that you can break the QTEs, right? So it could be anybody here. And if you do not have any of the units that I mentioned, or a lot of the units that I mentioned, it will just come down to Frankensteining your teams and picking a fire unit onto a team and trying to make it work as best as you can. So that is it. That is all I got for now. Hopefully I was able to help you out, and if I was able to help you out, leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment while you're at it. It helps out a lot. Good luck on your runs and stay strong, brahs, and I'll see you next time.